everybody, and welcome to the Nerdverse Odyssey, episode 31. I'm your host, sing-along asshole Nico, and right above me we have Chubby Santa on his day off, Mr. Glenn. How you doing?
You know, Nico, I fear that your insults are running rather thin.
Oh, they really are. I'm not practicing anymore. That's the problem.
That is the problem. Yeah. Weight update. I'm at 322. What's up?
Nice. Fair enough. You're getting there.
All right.
All right. And
I'll be sub 300 soon.
On my screen and not his screen, to the right of Glenn, we have everyone's favorite half Middle Eastern Italian plumber, Mr. Hunter.
It's a me, a Hunter. But also, I am in fact.
That was more
corner.
the count, actually. Like all you had to do was
One.
one.
No, speaking of wonderful shows from our childhood.
Yep.
What's Spider-Man's favorite type of rice?
Sticky rice?
Y'all got it. Sticky rice. There you go. I wanted to give you an easy one. You've never managed to get one on the pod yet.
We never did. I got that one though.
No, but now you got it. I'm proud of you.
There we go. Give myself a pat on the back there. All right, and underneath him we have the angry monkey tamer himself, Mr. Rico. How you doing?
Doing well. Just remember, you gotta spank that monkey before the monkey spanks you.
Already did.
Yeah, that's why he was late to the podcast.
Nice.
So, boys.
And how do you keep your hand from getting furry afterwards? I'm just saying.
You lean into it. It removes friction.
And speaking of friction,
like,
Hunter, go ahead, tell us your week.
So my week, really, I fell in love again with a podcast that I used to watch all the time or listen to all the time called Deep Cuts. It's just two guys who find really neat stories, and the pitch at the beginning of every episode is the next time you want to go to a forced social function, you can tell some idiosyncratic stories to make people think that you're really cool. And so there's every episode is a new story. One that I listened to today was about a song that played on a radio station in the Netherlands in the 1980s, and this cat will not get off my lap. And for years, people have been trying to solve the mystery of who exactly wrote and sang and performed this song because they could never find it. They could never figure it out. And there was
what was the name of the song?
I cannot remember.
By a band called Polybius.
Shut the fuck up, Glenn.
And so there was a radio station that played the song in the 80s, and so there's groups of people on the internet who have been trying to go
They've been
and
looking for
figure
it
out.
for years.
Yeah, and supposedly the guy who's gonna play the sax on the piece was in the room, and he had a copy of the lyrics and says he knew who it was, but it doesn't sound like the Korean guy that he said it was, and so the internet still doesn't believe it. It's still an open case. But
I thought it was like a Eastern European or German song.
Something similar to that. I don't know what this cat is doing right now though. And so that's really most of what I've been doing with my life. Other than I did get the inkling to watch Dodgeball again, and now he's trying to go for my food.
Nice.
And so I've watched that twice this week. And on Friday the 13th, my wife, who absolutely hates any form of horror films, it does not matter if it is Scary Movie or Chucky, she hates them with a burning, fiery passion. She cannot watch them. But she wanted
like Leprechaun.
No, well,
not even Leprechaun
close.
in space.
Ernest
or
Scared
Leprechaun in
Stupid?
the Hood.
Is that? But does she hate him out of
Ernest is a
fear,
pretty good
or
one.
she doesn't like him at all?
She doesn't like the content, and they also give her nightmares, which is totally understandable. But
Did you look her dead in the
growing
eye
up
and
watching,
say you're big pussy?
no, because I enjoy my bed, and so I, having grown up watching like Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th before I was like 8.
Oh, dude, you were younger than that because I was watching Nightmare on Elm Street when I was 2, so you had to have been at least like 2 or 3 when you started.
Yeah, I was 3 when I watched my first horror film, and it just went from there. But even she recognizes that when it's Friday the 13th, you got to do it. You got to watch a horror film. And I let her pick them because I don't feel it's appropriate for me to say, hey, let's watch Hereditary.
No, hey, let's watch Terrifier.
Yeah, right. There are levels to this game, and I've got to ease her into it. And so I let her pick.
Insidious.
That's actually one that she has watched.
You should have had her
and
watch
so-
Ring of Power. Now that's a fucking horror show.
but not in the way you typically think. And so she picked the original Children of the Corn from the 80s.
Ooh, a classic.
Which I was shocked by this pick, but I was down for it. And she realized immediately that she had made a mistake when the kids entered the diner within 30 seconds of the movie starting, and them just murking everyone in the building. And she's like, oh no.
Dude, imagine if she picked Village of the Damned.
Yeah, it would have been great. So what
The whole meat slicer scene, she won't be able to see another deli section for a couple of years.
just slowly pushing his face. It was great. What people don't know listening to this podcast or participating in this podcast, though, is when my brother and I were children, we got to watch a double feature. I think I was like 4 or 5 at the time because I very clearly remember it.
It was 3 movies.
That's right, because Cujo was in there as well. Where we got to watch Children of the Corn 2, Pet Sematary, and Cujo.
2.
Oh, Pet Sematary 2 and Cujo all in the same night. And I slept like a baby because I loved every moment of it. However, this moron was sleeping at the foot of my parents' bed under a blanket with his pillow because he didn't want to be under their covers. He just wanted to be in the same bed with them. And he kept saying, the pets are going to get me.
No. So let me recap this. I never have nightmares. That was the first nightmare I've ever had. And it wasn't anything in Children of the Corn. It wasn't anything in Village of the Damned. It was the dog from Pet Sematary. No. We watched Village of the Damned, Pet Sematary 2, and Children of the Corn 3, actually.
I could have sworn it was Cujo.
It wasn't Cujo. It was Pet Sematary 2 because Edward Furlong's dog died, and that was what they buried.
Fair.
So it was the dog from Pet Sematary 2 that got me. I slept in my mom's room because the dog was going to get me.
I have a very similar story. Not similar story. I have a pretty funny story about my brother being scared. I'm not going to say his name for the sake of protecting him, and because he also listens to this podcast. But there's this particular instance where our nanny had gotten him a clown doll, and now my brother is extremely afraid of clowns, as is my sister for some weird reason. And
it's their
so
me
whenever
eyes. It's very scary.
Well, it was this little like cute clown doll that looked almost like a Raggedy Ann doll, except it was a clown, right? And he threw it away in the garbage, and a strange set of circumstances that almost like a Rube Goldberg trap all fell into place. Because you see, previously there had been some sealing wax that me and my brothers were playing with, making bombs or something with it, and outside the window I wrote his name backwards on the window so that it appeared as his name on the inside, so that he'd get blamed for it, not me. And that was covered by a curtain. So he had the doll in our room. He went over to the garbage can, threw it away almost immediately after getting it. And then walking by the garbage can, I saw the clown in the garbage can, and I was like, oh, why is the clown in the garbage can? He just got that. And so I grabbed it and I put it into our room. And there's 2 paths in our old house to get back to our room, because we were in the corner. The kitchen was on the other side. There's the hallway and then the living room, right? And so he went one route, I went another. I had put it back into the room without him seeing me. And he saw it in there quite literally a minute after he'd stuffed it into the garbage can. To it, he was perturbed, angry, kind of like, what the fuck is going on? Took the doll, threw it, because in his frustration, because he didn't know what else to do. It hit the window, right? Knocking the curtain down. Curtain drops, And on the window, he sees his name written, and he's like, "Ah," and runs out of the room. it was it was it was a strange set of circumstances that may have cemented his fear of clowns to this day. Something to which he won't deny otherwise. So yeah, that's why my brother's scared of clowns. But also kind of funny because brothers, right?
I hope you get him a Pennywise pop figure every year for his birthday.
He will probably throw it in the garbage. In fact, actually, his birthday is coming up here on the 2nd. So
Let's get him a
October
clown for his
2nd.
birthday then instead.
I think I might. One of those like ceramic clowns that like hang from the ceiling, that it was real popular during the 80s. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Those are bad. So what else happened with the week, Hunter?
Yeah, so I got distracted there in the middle of it. But I am really proud of my wife. She both finished the movie and she didn't have nightmares that night. So, like, there's hope. We might get to watch more than one horror film a year.
Nice.
We'll see what happens there. I also bought a game called SnowRunner. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. It's a popular semi-truck driving simulator. It's more arcadey than simulator. But if you ever play like Euro Truck Simulator, it kind of functions like that. But the only problem is everything is off-road and every surface feels like you're driving on ice. And it's a multiplayer game. You can play it solo, but it's fucking atrocious. And so you're trying to pick up lumber and metal and brick to build up this whole area to make it usable for the population, right? But you're driving through these mud pits and creeks and ice and everything else. So you repeatedly get stuck and you have to winch yourself out, or you have to bring a crane over to like lift the truck out to place it down somewhere else. And really what it ends up being is one party is completing the task while the other person is just getting whatever vehicle is necessary to repeatedly get them out of whatever shitty situation they've stuck themselves in every 30 seconds. And so I have a couple friends who fucking love this game, and I cannot understand why. I bought the game because they kept telling me about it. They made it sound awesome, and I'm like, absolutely, this sounds great. And I start driving it, and no matter what surface you're on or how big your vehicle is, even if it weighs 20 tons, it feels like you are driving a go-kart on ice.
Oh,
and
God.
I made it through the tutorial level, and I just silently Alt F4 out of the game, and I got the refund on Steam. And like 45 minutes, like, damn, Hunter, it's taking you a long time to get through the tutorial. Like, yeah, I went back to Outer Wilds, guys. That game fucking sucks.
Have you played Euro Truck Simulator or American
Oh, yeah,
Truck
I love it.
Simulator with your rig?
They're great fun. Yes, I have played it with my rig a couple times. I don't know why the cat keeps coming up here tonight. He's really enjoys my shoulders, I guess. It's kind of, yeah, it's kind of a pain in the ass to get it set up in the rig, and also it doesn't work very well because I don't have a round rim or my wheelbase setup where it's right now it's only slightly elevated towards me, so the wheel, instead of being flat, it's slightly pointed up, like just for ergonomic purposes. But if I wanted it to be a truck simulator rig, I'd have to have the wheelbase almost completely straight up, so the wheel would be flat while I turn it.
That makes sense.
And so I don't really want to, so instead I just use an Xbox controller.
That's fair.
Yeah. Other than that, I've been playing Outer Wilds still. I finally got to the point where I have found everything I need to find in the game. I know exactly how to beat it, and I know the time frame in which I have to beat it before I Groundhog's Day when things go bad. The only problem is I have zero clue how I'm supposed to accomplish this task, because one of the areas I need to get to, legitimately, I have done it a dozen times now at this point, and the only way you can survive takes 19 minutes.
Oh my God.
And I have to go through an entire other planet to get the thing that I need to bring back there to get the thing that I need to fly away and end this hell that I'm stuck in. But there is literally no time, and I don't know what I can do to either reset this Groundhog's Day loop or continue forward on it without the time constraint or what. But yeah, I haven't picked it up in like 4 days because I'm unreasonably frustrated at it at the moment, and I hopefully will finish it this weekend.
I wonder if there's some means for you to travel back before the time that you started.
Glenn, I will shove your own foot up your ass.
What do you mean?
I have been telling myself that is the thing I need to do for a week and a half now, and I cannot figure out how to make it happen because it's the only logical thing that makes sense to me. But instead, I just repeatedly end up flying my ship into the sun out of frustration. So, we'll figure it out.
Fly my ship into the sun out of frustration.
I
I'm not
mean,
even
you know,
kidding.
maybe self-sacrifice is the means to win. You know, if you die, then nobody else has to.
I have got to the end credits a couple times, but not in the way that the developers intended, just being a dumb. So, I didn't actually complete the game. I just got to the credits. But yeah, that's pretty much my week. So with that,
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure my son beat that already.
yeah, I didn't
No,
say I was a
no,
smart
he
man.
hasn't.
Oh God, if
Rico,
you're having
you've
trouble
been nice to
figuring
me
it
so
out,
far
I'm
tonight.
fucked.
How's your week?
My week was stupendous. First of all, Baltimore Comic Con is coming up, so got my first shirt. This as a teaser. Woo. I don't know if you guys can see it.
That is fucking majestic.
I need that shirt. You need to send me.
I
the
was going
link
to say,
for it.
yeah. I mean, if it fits you, they probably have my size. Fuck yeah.
Hey, yeah, hey,
Oh, that
heavily
was
husky.
low key harsh, dude.
Yeah, I'm not sure
What are you
which
talking
direction that was going.
I know. It was either really harsh on him or really harsh on Rico. Either way, fucking harsh, bro.
Either way, I wasn't paying attention.
We're
That's
both
why I said heavily
guys that
husky.
wear 3X shirts. I mean, what the fuck?
It won't be the first, it won't be the last. I'm just saying.
We're brothers for life. Huh.
I hate it because even though Glenn didn't have no bad intentions, but it's like those people who don't have an argument and they'll be like, "You're fat." It's like that's the best you can come up with. Like,
Yeah, right.
tell
At
me
least
something I
make
didn't
it
know when
funny,
I was
like
growing
say
up. Like, oh,
my brother in calories or something.
oh, my brother in calories. There you go. Other than that, not much that I did. Other than seeing and viewing some videos on the latest staff resign from Murder the Name,
Annapurna.
Annapurna Interactive. They're the guys behind Outer Worlds, Strays, and partner with Remedy for Control 2.
Yep.
So their president,
And
co-president,
Universe for sale, oddly enough. Yeah.
they all left September 6th, and then 6 days later, after they put a new president on board, Hector Sanchez, they actually left. So now they have no staff. So right now it seems like they wanted to go independent, and the owner of this whole thing, Megan Elson, said no, and so she stepped away from the negotiation. So, other than that, I don't know if you guys ever noticed, Nintendo sues Pocket Pair.
Yes, I saw that. I'm
So
surprised it took them this long. I don't think they have a case.
Yeah, I'm surprised they even bothered. I think they're
But what do you
just
think they're
wanting
suing
to
them?
bleed their profits.
What do you think they're suing them on?
It's a copyright infringement, I think, is what it, or no, patent infringement or something. Patent,
It's
yeah.
patent infringement. Yep.
I bet you anything it's because the game you collect monsters with balls. I think.
Yeah.
that
So
might be
actually,
what it is.
I saw Pirate Software, and shout out to that dude, because he fell into my algorithm. He actually looked at it, and he was talking about it's interesting, and he believes it's the sphere mechanic of it because Nintendo patented it. Which the timing is weird because he said they did it in May. They filed it in May, but it was approved in August of this year.
Which is
So it's
very
like
interesting because Pal World came out a year and a half ago,
Yeah.
and they showed that off I think 2 years ago. So yeah, no, that's
How can
that's
you
really interesting.
patent a
Fictional thing?
elementary shape? Like,
See, I'm glad you said that because something that I took away from my article from Toya securities analyst Hideki Yasuda. Hey, don't kill me.
Hideki?
Basically, he said Nintendo filing this lawsuit for patent infringement, not copyright violation, means it has given up making the case that Pal's World's character are similar to Pokemon's. But it shows Nintendo has more ways to stop games it doesn't like. The company owns a lot of patents related to basic game mechanics that are used in many titles available today.
Dude,
so
they
the main
still
point,
have the patent on the rolling on the D-pad. Like, I will go to my grave saying the NES had the best D-pad of any system. But the reason why is because when you crack open the controller and look, there's a little tiny nub that points in that cradles the D-pad, or it might be the reverse where the ball is on the plastic bit of the D-pad. But anyway, it gives a better rolling motion to get your inputs proper.
Mm-hmm.
The only people who use that same design are third-party controller makers out of China because they can get away with it.
Yeah, because China doesn't care about
They don't give a
copyright.
fuck.
Well, it's like the guy who runs worlds.com. The only reason why that site still exists is so that he can maintain the copyright for FPS. Like the concept of an FPS first person shooter, worlds.com has the patent for basically a first person view plus the HUD.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Worlds.
So every first person game that you have out there, yeah, look it up. It's pretty spectacular. Basically, any first person RPG, first person shooter, all has to pay royalties to the guy who owns worlds.com.
Wow.
This is actually surprisingly common. What most people don't know, though, and it happens some with Nintendo and many other publishers, even outside of technology space, there are companies that will patent technologies or some sort of functionality for whatever their product
Just
is.
so they can make bank off it.
Sometimes they can make bank, yes, but also just so people cannot do anything with it.
Yep.
There's
There's one
I
dude
think
who owns a bunch of patents that are similar to how like the Switch works, and he went and tried to sue Nintendo over it. I think the case was thrown out with prejudice, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so one of the ones that's a really good example is there's actually a couple. Ford owns the patent for the seatbelt. I believe it's Ford. It might be another manufacturer, but they give it away to everyone. There's no royalties or licensing fees.
I'm pretty
It's
sure it was
basically
actually
people.
Mercedes-Benz.
Is it?
that
Yeah, I knew it
owns
was
that.
an auto manufacturer. I couldn't remember. I do know that Ford
And they
did
gave it away
file
for
a
free
patent.
because it worked so well.
Yeah.
It saved so many lives.
Yeah, Ford did file a patent earlier this year to display ads on your dash or like on your dash in the middle of the car and on your gauge cluster display, since digital dashes are a thing. However, they filed it for a good reason, because they think their ethos says that is a bullshit thing that should absolutely
Good.
never happen in a vehicle.
Good.
So they patent it so no one else can ever do it, and they have hundreds of patents like that are just stuff to the side
To
of
like cock block
bullshit
people
things
for
that
doing
should never
bullshit.
happen.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, and so that happens all the time in the video game space.
Dude, I'm just
manufacturing
thinking about
space,
that right now.
everywhere.
Imagine you go to start your car and you have to wait 30 seconds to because you have to watch an ad. That would, oh my god, that is the worst.
What would happen is that people just would stop buying that car.
Exactly.
Like if that was the case, like I'd be like, no, I'm not gonna drive this anymore. Return it. Lemon law. Too easy.
But what would be amazing out of that is that car's value would then immediately plummet. You could get it for absolutely dirt cheap, and then you just jailbreak the car
Yeah, exactly.
because you know it would be coming.
Oh, dude,
No, but I
within
mean,
the first 5
I mean,
hours.
I mean, you guys highlighted something that it could be pro and cons, because the way Pirate Software was saying is that the fact that Nintendo has a patent like this just stifles competition and guarantees you're going to get crappy games because the development of it, is stifled. So
See, I can kind of understand that, but at the same time, they only pull it out when it cuts into their bottom line. So the reason
because
I'm not defending them. What I'm saying though is
you are.
they wait
are.
because no, because look, Pal World's been out for almost a year now, and I'll be straight up honest. I find Pal World way more fun than Pokemon, but
See right there, that's why they're after you guys now.
exactly. But that's the thing, because they made something that was fun, and the last Pokemon game fucking sucked.
Yeah.
Also,
But I mean, I
the
didn't find the
Pokemon
story
can shoot
beforehand, but they
guns.
did sue
Yeah,
somebody
that was
else
fuck cool.
for. They did sue somebody else recently.
Oh, wait,
I'll
it was a
speak-
Chinese company, and they were straight
Yeah.
up ripping off Pokemon. They took all the assets from, I think it was like Pokemon Gold, and threw them through an AI to upscale them, and then recolored them a little bit, and then threw it on the App Store.
And
Yeah,
they
so I
also
think
were
that was
using
a-
the
that
proper
one was
names
actually
of the
copyright
Pokemon
infringement.
and stuff. Yeah.
So I think with that, it's more or less they catapult off of that and
But
said,
see,
you know
here's the
what,
thing, though,
you guys
there's
want to do
tons of
these?
Pokemon-like games, like cassette. You have Cassette Beast, Monster. What the fuck is that one? Monster something.
Temtem.
Temtem. There's like Neomon or something like that. Like there's a shit ton of stuff. So it's not that they used it that way. I think it's like if it actually starts cutting into their bottom line. And if you think about it, when Power World came out, that was when Pokemon Scarlet and Violet came out, and that did not do too well, at least with like a lot of the main media outlets, because it had shitty performance. Hi.
I've raised my hand because I don't want to cut you off, but I'm curious. Rico, the really big Funko Pop that's in your background there, is that Alpha from the 2016 or 2018 version of Power Rangers?
No,
the
that's
movie?
the Demigorgon.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
too small for me to see the flower face.
Yeah,
Okay.
I saw the flower face. All right, I don't
like
remember
the
what I was
flower.
ranting about, so let's
So-
keep going.
Are any of
Well,
you
you're
all
ranting
familiar
on
with
how when Power Wars came
go ahead.
out that it was peaked. But I mean,
Oh,
it
yeah.
peaked at 2.1 million players for a single player game.
And
No
that was it came out
microtransaction, no
when
love
it
game.
came out around the same time that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet came out, and that was I don't want to say it was critically panned, but it was panned enough where I'm pretty sure they did lose some money on it because it had shitty performance and it looked like ass. So I can kind of see where they're coming at with it. It's like, oh well, this is cutting into our bottom line, so we need to deal with it. But it seems like a dick move because there's nothing really related between the two aside from you catch cute monsters and they battle.
Are y'all familiar with Asmosity?
Asmos,
The-
the board game company.
Gesundheit?
Yes, the board game company.
Osmosis.
I always called it
don't know.
Asmodee, but fair enough.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, it's probably Asmodee, but anyways, so they've been purchasing a whole bunch of different IPs via board games and stuff like that. Like they recently picked up like Mayfair and stuff like that. And Mayfair, oddly enough, is the creators of a crayon rail system for a game called
you talked
Empire
about this
Builder.
a while ago.
Yeah, absolutely love crayon rail games, but they're currently out of print because of the fact that as
Ticket to Ride.
well, no, Ticket to Ride is not a crayon rail game.
Okay,
That is
fair.
that's a worker placement game. But no, so one of the main reasons why it hasn't been reprinted in such a long time is because the rights to make a video game out of it is owned by this one guy who made Empire Express sorry, Empire Builder Pronto, right? And Empire Builder Pronto was made in like Windows 3.1, right? And the only means to play a crayon rail like game on a computer is by playing Empire Builder Pronto.
Okay.
But first of all, it's a subscription service, one of the first of its kind, and it is entirely too expensive for what it is. And then you have to purchase each individual map as an expansion. It's like $20 a pop, and with a lifetime ownership of the content. But to access the game, you have to pay the subscription. And
that's fucking greasy.
It's greasy as fuck. And so, for that matter, while this guy is still alive, right, there will never be another Empire Builder game physically made because Asmodee can't make a digital version of it that goes along with the physical version.
Then why don't they just make a physical version and say fuck it?
Because there's it's such a niche game that it would be better served as a digital board game in the current market.
Okay, fair.
Yeah, because you're talking about a game that takes 3 or 4 hours to play with crayons, which are expendable, and it is a thinking man's Euro style game.
Well, then why not just make it free print and play and just release it to the masses?
Well, because of the fact that there are people on Etsy and stuff like that that are able to remake board game pieces for it. They basically just reprint replacement, and then but you can also purchase a entire replacement set, which is essentially just the entire game, oddly enough. It's just sold as replacement pieces for the board game in its previous iteration as opposed to anything new.
Yeah, that makes
because the
sense.
game is more than 25 years old.
What's the name of it?
Empire Builder.
Oh, Empire.
There's also there's Euro Rails, Lunar Rails, Martian Rails, British Rails. There's
Rails on
Australian
Rails.
There's Nippon Rails, which is Japan. There's China Rails, which is in China. There's Iron Dragon, which is probably one of the better versions of it because it's a high fantasy variant of it.
And if you want to get kinky, they have the casting rail.
You are all welcome. I just shared Empire Builder, the North America map, in the general channel as a download for Tabletop Simulator. So we can now go ahead and play it. That's on my fun.
Now you can play your game.
That's spectacular. And
And
I
Rico
mean,
should
mind
be
you,
able to join in too.
but huh?
Rico can join in too.
Hell yeah. Dude,
Yeah,
I will
we'll slow
throw
down my
down on
laptop.
some Empire Builder. Like, I'm a huge fan.
I do think one of
but
these
yeah.
days we need to do a board game podcast. Just throw on Tabletop Simulator and play a board game.
I'd be down.
Yeah, I'd be
Okay.
down too. Fuck yeah.
Who's bringing the
yeah,
snacks?
Sorry.
It's
Uh,
it's online, bro. You bring your
Depends, are you
own.
gonna have the
I'll-
munchies?
Here, I got
don't know if I
your
can afford
digital
that.
snacks right here. Oh wait, oh no, I don't want
Munchies
to
for
click
four is a
that.
lot.
Please don't
Whoa,
send
whoa.
us a bag of nuts.
No almonds.
Yeah, definitely no
speaking of-
almonds.
Speaking of almonds, the last 2 parts of my week, watch another podcast with 6 Feet Under. This time they interviewed Henry O. Godwin. You might have known him as Hog in wrestling. So one of the highlights that he had I think it was a 30-minute match with Triple H in a hog pin
Yes. Okay, that is the guy I was thinking of.
with hogs.
And
Did
that was
not
back when he
know-
was it Jean-Luc Dupree or something like that? It was
No,
or
his
no,
name
no.
was
He was
Henry-
Hunter Hearst Helmsley at the time. This
Yeah,
is before.
yeah.
Okay.
For some reason, I thought you said Hog was that, but
No. I'm going on a Triple H rant.
yeah, which they talk about it too. How some of those matches, no matter how much you plan, something always happens. So, like in the case of Triple H, he was thrown into a panel fence or something. After Hog was thrown into it, but when Hunter Hearst went through it, he actually cut his back with the fence. They actually had to get stitches. So the one thing that he kind of joked about it, but he didn't know. He's like, I didn't see him injured, and he's like, and I'm bench pressing him, and all you see is like slop and all this other mess just going. He's like, man, we thought he was gonna get like the new swine flu infection or something. So that opened up the COVID jokes and stuff like that. Crazy thing though is I put it in the chat earlier was you guys remember the wrestling diva Sunny?
Oh yes, I do.
I read
I
that
remember
news
she got
story.
in trouble and I didn't. So they mentioned the one time, and it's not the first one because I think the guy who played Tex, because at one point he had a tag team partner, part of the BSK with Undertaker. But they said one time they took a bucket of slop, put it in the middle of the locker, and said, "Hey, nobody touch this. This is going to be used tonight on Sunny." He said it was maybe halfway filled, and by the time they brought it to the ring, it was like maybe half an inch filled with some stuff they don't know was in there.
Oh.
Public latrine.
Yeah, latrine, all type. The way Hawk said, he's like, yeah, there's like at least multiple DNA samples that were in there, whatever. And I'm like, what? I was like, okay.
That's gnarly.
But the crazy thing about her, as far as like a dark side of the ring thing, is I didn't know she got sent to prison for 17 years
Yeah.
for killing a 75-year-old. But when you hear her story, at least as far as what I saw was multiple times of substance abuse, especially alcohol, domestic abuse, all types of stuff.
So,
So
look, what was her motive for killing this old ass dude?
oh, she was drunk off her ass, triple the limit, the legal limit.
Oof.
And this was like
She had
her fourth.
0.21.
Yeah, this was like her fourth. I think it was a fourth or third DUI. So it was
You're
like,
saying somewhere between a fifth and a quarter of her blood was alcohol.
yeah. Now she is a big.
She a
Now
big
when I seen her
girl
on
now.
she's a big girl now. So I don't know if that came into play. Or,
That's a lot of
or just
alcohol,
years of
even especially if she's a big girl. Like that's a couple of handles, bro.
Yeah, but it shows. I mean, at least what I can say is before when we were doing the podcast earlier and stuff like that, the one thing I pointed out was with these shows, they give a behind the scenes look, and the amount of substance abuse from drugs and alcohol and everything else it's just astonishing. And with Sunny, it was like I don't think she graduated college. She came out of college with one of the wrestlers and worked her way up. But
Yep.
then by the end of it, everybody was like, nah, we're done with this. Now, to WWE's credit, they put her on the wellness program for rehab. So she's been a couple of times to
Didn't
rehab.
she she quit that or something, and that's when they fired her and she went to WCW?
Yeah, they basically gave her an ultimatum like, hey, you got to stop what you're doing. There was another interview that basically said that I think between her and maybe somebody else, when that happened, supposedly she had got high and somebody had found some stuff and they just let her go right on there on the spot. They had her on the wellness program and then they removed her, say, hey, we're not covering you, because she would go back and forth for rehab. And then, to WWE's credit, later on, she went back to rehab and WWE was like, hey, we'll pay for it. But again, it was the same thing. She'll go to rehab, come back. Matter of fact, she wouldn't even finish. It sounds like she wouldn't even finish rehab. Either she didn't show or do a partial and then left, whatever. But that's one of the highlights in the interview that was there. Coincidentally enough, the guy, he actually comes from a farming background. Actually, he raised hogs. And Vince loved that idea, and that's why they ran with it. And apparently, he loves Germany a lot. Sounds like military life. But again, it's about an hour and a half interview. Like I said, it's really good. Last thing I have is games.
That's kind of crazy. We had a guy back in college who was nicknamed .30 because of the fact that was his blood alcohol level whenever he got caught up by the police, and that fucker was almost dead. Like, I'm just saying, like, especially with blood alcohol and your typical woman's constitution with respect to alcohol, like what the fuck? She was a pickle. She was a fucking pickle. That's what she was.
That's years. That's just years of drinking. I mean, there was another story, I think, in Maryland, where you had a woman deputy where by the time they pulled her over, I think she was 3, and it sounds crazy, or at least 4 times the legal limit. But the notion, and then she was still somewhat functioning. But the takeaway, what somebody said in is like, that's years of drinking. That's just years of, you wake up and you're picking up a bottle of alcohol to drink. If you're like that, like
4 times the legal limit is 1/3 of your blood quantum. 1/3.
Look, somehow she was alive. She was alive and functioning. I don't know how. If I can find the article, I will. But speaking of alive, Space Marines 2, Warhammer 40K.
How is it?
It's chaos, dude. Like, I'll post a video. I didn't have that much time to play, but I actually was able to get out of the tutorial. So I'm playing on veteran status. So there's 4 difficulties. I'm on the 3rd one. One thing that's striking playing on a console is that when you finally get your weapons, usually with like Destiny, for example, it's a smooth trigger press here.
Yeah.
When you play with Warhammer, it actually fights you. Like, it's a little bit of a resistance.
Nice.
And so I'm like, why? I was like, what's wrong with my controller, whatever. And then there's so much xenomorphs, and I know they're not called xenomorphs,
Tyranids.
jumping at you. It's like, I mean, essentially what somebody told me is like, if you can master parrying, you would do a whole lot better, because it's not like Destiny where you hide behind something.
Yeah, no, you're not.
One...
Think of it like if Gears of War didn't have the cover system.
Yeah, like, it's just stuff coming at you. You got Tyranids with blades, Tyranids with guns. Those bastards, I hate them. Because they'll shoot the hell out of you, and your whole.
Do they have what is it called? The worm guns. There's like the basic ones with guns that shoot like these it's like boring worms or some shit.
They may have. I don't know. All I know is that they shot me from a distance, and my whole screen went like greenish fog, and I was like, "What the hell is wrong with this?" And they was like, "Brother, you got
probably
some
got hit by a
things
venom
intoxicate you or some shit."
Yeah.
And so through all the fog, you got these things jumping at you, and I'm trying to shoot. I'm like, "Oh, this is real crazy." But yeah, the last part they have it to where is you got to upload a virus bomb on this planet, and you just see a cutscene. You get your focus on, and it's none but Tyranids coming down this hill.
Oh shit!
And I was like, I gotta fight all of them, and then they just start crawling like World War Z up these different points. So you got to destroy that part while that shit is going on. And these guys, once they get to the top, they chase you. Dude with blades comes out, and then there's more Tyranids running around, and you can't. I mean, it's so far as great. It's a little bit frustrating because you can't sit still. You have to move your character around, and this is like, it's like
You're bulky too because you're moving
Yeah,
around like the
dude.
Hulk.
Like I'm willing to bet once you customize, you might get the little jet packs or whatever they get.
Yeah, you
but
get
I
the
mean, you're
assault
just
packs
moving
at some
like
point
you're
in the
like
game.
doosh, doosh, doosh. I'm like, nah. But so far the gameplay so far is good. It takes place 10,000 years after the Horse's Heresy.
Horse
Again, I don't
heresy.
know
Yeah.
that much. I don't know that much about the lore. But I was told later on by a friend, the nerd of the Primarchs, it was Lord Gillian.
Oh, robot girly man.
So basically, he basically they come back and now it's showing you how he's trying to take the reins of the universe after everything happened with Horse Heresy and stuff like that. So there's more into it. He told me not to. He didn't want to spoil it for me. Just told me complete the campaign, then do the objectives. Like they have missions. So basically, you're replaying certain areas, and then once you do the tutorial, once you complete it, then you can play multiplayer. So that first half, if you don't want to struggle, play it on normal or the easiest, and then you go from there. But I didn't. It took me maybe 15 tries for the last part of the tutorial. But again, I'm trying to figure out
multiplayer.
the
Do you get to? Are you still playing Space Marines only, or is it? Do you get the chance to play as the
Space Marines
bugs?
or Chaos? I think of the two you get to play as for the multiplayer, and they have a PvP mode where it's Chaos versus regular Space Marines, and then there's Extraction. Is that what they call it? Where it's the 3 Space Marine kind of.
Yeah, those
like,
are the type of missions that you'll have. So it'll be extractions and some other things that are there for you to play. And right now, when you play the game, you're playing a Ultramarine.
Titus.
Ultramarine, and you become a Primus. What's it called? Primus?
No, it's a
Primaries.
Primaris.
Yeah,
they're Primaris Marines. They get like updated armor or some shit.
Yeah, because he used to be on Death Watch. Used to be Death Watch. So it sounded like kind of like John Stowe on the wall.
I think after the first game he joined the Death Watch. So that's like Space Marines from different chapters kind of volunteer for like the Suicide Squad.
So being like I got the operative vibes is what I got, because it was like you did something, but then explain what he did, and so he's been with Death Watch for 100 years.
Yeah, it's either you volunteer for. It's kind of like the not the Watchman. What the dude the Watchers the Wall in Game of Thrones. It's either you volunteer for it or you do something fucked up and then they send you there.
The Wall Facers?
No, what the fuck do they call them?
That's
they wear all black. They're up on the wall, waiting, holding back the North.
The Watch.
Yeah, the Watch. I haven't watched Game of Thrones since the season finale, so.
But all in all, right now with Space Marines, it's a new experience. No immediate complaints right now with the game, because again, I'm new to the lore and new on. Again, haven't played a third-player game like that where it's shoot and run right now. For that one. But as far as anybody who has controllers, they do have up to I think 6 control sets. So if you don't like how the buttons are laid out, you can change your controller and stuff like that. Even found a video on how to enhance the brightness settings to how you're supposed to play the game. So I couldn't tell the difference because again I don't want to go into the weeds of that, but I know it looks gorgeous on my little 32-inch monitor that I have here, or TV. But other than that, I'm gonna hand it off to Glenn.
I got a question first, because you mentioned xenomorphs. Has anybody here watched Aliens Romulus yet?
I have
not yet.
Not.
No.
I've heard mixed things about it though.
So have I.
The trailer kind of put me off with like the little in the face. I mean, because everybody knows what's going on, but it seemed a little gay.
What was that?
Oh, the dude getting face raped by the hand.
No, I'm talking about Glenn. That the whole.
Yeah, he wants Glenn to reenact it.
Oh.
No.
But no. So when I saw the trailer and then I heard the dude who did the remake of Evil Dead was doing it, I was like, okay, this could be interesting. And the trailer made me go, okay, very interesting. And then I heard it was shit, and now I don't know how to feel.
I'm still excited to watch it. I'm waiting for it to come out like on streaming before I watch it, because I haven't heard anybody give me like, you really need to go see this in movies, and I want someone to. But I know if I don't get that, I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna sit through it. I'm like, God damn it! I paid so much money to go see this movie, and I should have waited. It's all right. Now that I've like got us in a nice little bit of the conversation, everybody's down. Bring us back up, Glenn.
Wait,
on, real
quick.
wait,
So-
wait, pause.
Oh,
Go
oh.
ahead.
Speaking of aliens, Baltimore Comic Con, you're gonna have Vasquez and I think the guy was named Hickman who are on Aliens. They're gonna be at Comic Con.
Nice.
Are they
Very
going to charge $300 per person for their signature?
Oh,
I hope not. They'll probably be like
Probably.
$50.
Probably. If Lou Ferrigno is any sign of things in the current scape of things, I would say yes.
Oh,
Well,
don't look
people
up Mark
complained,
Hamill.
but he couldn't hear it.
Yeah. So
Take it away, Glenn.
for my week, so I've recently gotten back into American Horror Story because I basically stopped before the last episode of 1984 because my dear beautiful wife and I were watching it together, and after a couple of months of not watching it, I was like, you know what, I'm going to watch it. And so I watched it. And so I finished out in 1984. Really great season of American Horror Story. I then proceeded into double feature and watched Red Tide. And holy shit. If you are a fan of Salem's Lot, I highly suggest it. It's basically stuck somewhere on the tip of Massachusetts' cock, and you're by the sea, and there's some pills, and apparently they give you a thirst for blood, and hilarity ensues. It's very, very well done, and the characters, well, like any good American Horror Story film, everything's wrapped up in a neat little bow by the time everything's done. So, but also with the double feature season, it was basically filmed right in the middle of COVID. And so basically they made 6 episodes for the first half of it. And then the second half of it is essentially aliens. Not Aliens the movie, but like the U.S. government and Roswell.
nice.
And so, yeah, watch the first episode, it's strange, if not because of the one scene where some people get attacked, and wouldn't you know it, tentacles come out of nowhere, and start doing the the
They
thing,
do the tentacle thing.
and they do the tentacle thing.
Don't Google it.
And then
Do the thing.
Google it.
Do the thing.
Do it. It's worth it.
And then both the women in the car and the 2 gay guys that they have inside of their beach party fun end up being pregnant, all 4 of them. So yeah,
As you do with tentacles.
as you do with tentacles.
The tentacle don't judge. It don't discriminate. It just impregnates.
I guess so. So we'll see how that goes. It seems to be flashing between like Dwight D. Eisenhower's presidency and the Common Era, and so like how they're going to connect the story, it's interesting. I don't know. The aliens appear to be like the aliens from American Horror Story Asylum, so there's going to be some callback to that, I'm sure, during this portion of the season. But all in all, I am intrigued. Speaking of aliens, there is another game that I've tried this week. It's called UFO 50. It is a collection.
I know UFO 50. How is it?
It's spectacular.
Nice. Okay.
So there is no instructions, or very little instructions with each game, and you kind of go into it. If there's a story, it tells about it in like the first like couple of screens, and then you just go and have to figure out how to play the game. And so, I mean, that's a large portion of this game collection, is that they're made in such a way that they emulate games from the early 80s all the way to the early 90s. And it looks to be like Nintendo or Super Nintendo graphics on all of them. Really, really great game. There's 50 games in total, and there is like a little mini game that if you get to a certain point in the game or do fulfill certain procedures with each of the games, then you have this little pig that gets prizes. So yeah, all in all, really great little collectathon. Very nostalgic, but it's part of the puzzle of the game is figuring out how to play each game. Very well designed. What was the question there, Hunter?
Editor's note. Glenn meant UFO 50, not Alien 50.
That's what I said.
Now, anyone who's
No, he did say UFO 50.
Oh, you said Alien 50 at least the next time, because I typed in Alien 50 right after you said it, and nothing was popping up, so I had to look up UFO, and I figured out it was UFO 50.
Okay,
but
sorry.
If nobody's watching the video recording of this, then they're totally going to believe he actually edits this now. So, win.
Oh my god, you're such an asshole.
So yeah, so UFO 50 also finished up a Castle Full of Cats, which is a hide and seek game where you go find little kitty cats. It's rather spectacular and a lot of Castlevania references. Also had a meeting with my good friend James Alston, who is my fellow writer, and we talked about the 5 projects that he has on his plate and how we are going to pursue getting all those knocked out. 3 of which are pertaining to the World of Darkness card game, and then the 2 of which are the books that we're working on. And also had talked to him about maybe possibly coming up on the show to discuss progress and methods and stuff like that. And is that something you guys would be interested in?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Then we know you're actually working on a book and not just bullshitting us to be on the show.
No. James Alston is a real guy with real feelings, and he has a dog named Batman, and it's great.
Dog named
He's also a
Batman.
spectacular singer. He's going to totally mess up your audio, by the way, because of his deep baritone voice that positively rumbles with masculinity. It's quite pleasurable. Listening to that man sing Walking in Memphis, orgasmic. And so anyways, but apart from that, it's been kind of weird doing a lot of adjustments this week with Chrissy working and the kids going to school and me basically waiting for everything to start up with me. And it's just been kind of this calm sea, at least for me, that I've been gliding through, waiting for the current to finally pick up. So all in all, I'm enjoying it. Just, basically consuming all the damn media that I can, before I don't have time to do so. Let's see, what else did I play? I finally got into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge.
Nice.
As a huge fan of Turtles in Time on the SNES, I played that game so much. It was the first time I ever played a video game from sunset to sunrise over at my uncle Bart and Annie Ann's place with their son Michael. It was a great game. Absolutely great. Beat it in one night, at 7 years old, which was a feat, to say the least.
It's fucking hard.
Yeah, it was a fucking hard game, but dude, I was like dialed in and had all that youthful energy that wasn't focused on everything else.
Hunter and I had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles the arcade game on the NES. How many black eyes did we both sustain because of that fucking game, and each of us beating the shit out of each other and not moving? I remember that was like one of the only games that got us into fist fights.
I don't remember that. I remember the massive beating that I took.
I remember punching you.
That resulted in her leaving and me getting to keep the game because it was her little brother. She brought over for us to play it.
Fuck! I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. So here's the thing. This is side quest.
This is
go for it, man.
Rails now.
So I was I don't know 4, maybe 5. Couldn't have been any more than 5. But he's only 2 years older than me.
Was this the bitch
he
that
was
put the
playing...
knife up to Bluey's neck?
I don't know. I don't remember that. But this jackass was playing on my mom and dad's bed with his toys, and he left the room. And this babysitter, she was a teenager, like she was maybe 18, maybe. She saw that there were toys on my parents' bed, and then she's like, "Hey, to me, you need to go pick those up." And me being me, I don't know if you guys have ever met me and know my personality any. I immediately said no, for various reasons, and in a much less polite tone and vocabulary. And so she went and grabbed the metal belt out of my dad's closet and just started beating me with it, and until I agreed to do it. Which, again, if you know my personality, that was not effective. My parents actually gave up trying to use belts on us
Yep.
as a kid, because even when I broke the window, I blamed it on him, because in my mind, this is kid math. Keep this in mind. It doesn't matter if I'm getting beat for it. If he's getting beat for it too, he's gonna break before I do, and then he's really gonna get punished for it, not me. This happened
That
many
reminds me
times
of,
throughout our
True.
childhood.
That reminds me of the time that me and my brother were fighting, one of many times. Reminded me to tell you all about the time that I got a butter knife in my leg. But this particular time, we were fighting, and I ran outside and I hid in the Astro van, because it was the 90s.
Mhm.
And he, in a puerile rage, was like beating on the side of the van and just like, "Rah!" And then he went and grabbed a gift bag that had a rock in it, and then proceeded to smash the window of the Astro van, and then proceeded to try to blame me for it. We both got our ass beat because of the fact that I was the one who was in fact hiding in the van,
Mhm.
and he the one who smashed the window. So we were both at fault. So in some ways he won, little shit. But
You guys are some badass kids. Just wanna say
like,
that.
yeah, dude, like, I mean, it's whenever I hear these stories about you and Nico, Hunter, I harken back to many of my childhood stories, where, quite honestly, I mean, like, there were 5 of us. So I mean, like,
You had opportunities.
there was 5 of us, 3 boys, 2 girls, and the girls weren't fighting, but there was 3 boys that were just basically at each other's neck. I remember my father like yelling at us down the hallway whenever me and Andrew were sitting there trying to kill each other, and he was like, "I don't fucking care anymore. You know what? I don't care. Just fucking kill each other. You know what? I'll take care of whoever wins."
Yeah,
Wow.
so our mom
To
threw out
which-
the rule
to which-
that if there's no blood or bone protruding out of skin, she doesn't give a shit.
Yeah,
Right?
that was again my fault. But yeah, to finish out this story,
Go
she
for it.
proceeded to beat me up and down from like knee to shoulder blades, and then realized very soon afterwards that I was covered in black and bruises, and that this was a problem. So she tried to make it up for it for the rest of the night and gave me all the attention and everything I wanted, which that was a win for me. While this jackass was downstairs in the basement playing
After
Teenage
that,
Mutant
you
Ninja
had
Turtle.
a perchance for young women beating you.
But yeah, so he's downstairs playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles because she had babysat us before, and we had asked her to bring over games like that, and she also brought over the side-scrolling Simpsons game with Bart on
Oh yeah, Bart
on
versus
the
the world.
skateboard. Yeah, and so as soon as my parents got there, she immediately booked it, didn't say a word, got the payment, ran out the door, and then my mom saw my back the next day, called the cops and everything else, and then when the cop got there, he brought M&Ms with us. It was the first time I ever got to try blue M&Ms. Fucking great. One of the best days of my life.
They all
Also,
taste the same.
No, the blue one
not
tastes blue.
no, they don't.
The fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, I can taste blue, guy. And so at one point, the cop just leaned down to me. He's like, "Hey, little buddy, you gonna be okay?" I was like, "Yeah, I got free video games because she didn't take the Simpsons game or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and you gave me M&Ms. Doing great." And he just stood up, looked at my wife, was like, "Yeah, I think we're good here. Can I leave?"
This is also the fucking cocksucker who got both of us in so much trouble the Christmas I was 6 years old, the one when we got Kirby.
Yeah.
This
Yeah, I did.
little fucking prick. He goes up to my parents' room because I love you, Mom, but
This
you're
was a
kind of
joint
stupid.
effort. This was a joint
I know,
effort.
but
Don't
you
let him
started
lie.
it. So he knew all my mom's hiding spots. So he proceeded to grab presents, peel them open, take a look, wrap them back up, and put them back. So he did this for 4 or 5 days, like pretty
At
much
least.
like right up until Christmas. And
They
then,
stored everything in the closet and not even out of arm's reach for a child. This was their fault. Let's be very
yes.
clear.
So I remember we had found out that we got Kirby for the NES, and I didn't wrap it back properly. And there was like one other
No,
thing.
that's not what happened. That's not what happened.
Please
They walked
go.
in because we unwrapped it, and he was sitting there at the NES playing Kirby 2 or 3 days
that's right.
before Christmas. And my mom was like, shit, did you guys already have this game? And we're like, yes. And then she immediately walked upstairs, went in her closet, and we just heard from the back house, you Gary, fuck.
There was also,
It was
we got
great.
like a giant, we got wrestling figures too, because I think we got Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan.
Probably.
Yep. Yeah, that was a fun Christmas.
So this is the end of
my
Nostalgia
dear
Hour.
nephews had to return all of their presents and give them away to charity because of the fact that basically they started opening presents on Christmas morning without my brother or sister-in-law, my other brother, not the brother that broke the window. And yeah, and I remember the story basically because I was in DC whenever this Christmas happened, and apparently Kristen had come downstairs. Damn it, I said her name. Whatever. Screeching at the top of her lungs, "Oh, you ruined Christmas!" And that was it, man. Like there was no stopping her. Like it was fucking spectacular. The fallout from that. Yeah, I remember actually one Christmas I had a black eye and chicken pox because basically Brian, my older brother, had like socked me one, and then I got chicken pox, and so like the saddest looking child on Christmas, like dude, I'm all fucked up, and I'm holding this like art set, I'm like, and sit there in my tidy whities because it was the style at the time, and yeah, it was I was absolutely miserable, but it was Christmas, so it was okay. Anyways, let's keep moving. We're moving at a pretty damn good pace here. Nico, let's start with you.
Howdy. So this week I was blighted by the Lord.
As you deserved.
Probably. I need
thousand
to
I
stop
believe
touching
the term
myself.
is called
you.
smoked.
Allegedly. Anyway, so what had happened was Saturday. I want to say it was Friday night. Roja gets a little cough, and ain't feeling too good. Like, okay, fair enough. Totally fine. Sleeps through the night. Then Saturday rolls along, and he's like just will not stay asleep. He's like choking up his lungs, dry heaving, all this bad shit. So I'm like, okay, we finally got him to sleep after we medicated him, all that. Next morning, he is looking like shit. This is Sunday morning. He is kind of pale, like just a ragged version of himself. So we're like, oh, he's fucked. So we get him an appointment down
Man,
at
you must have
Minute
looked
Clinic.
positively deadly with your skin tone.
Oh, yeah, it was bad. So we take him down to the Minute Clinic, and the doctor is like checking him over, and she's like, "Oh, I think I hear crackling. This could be pneumonia. I'm gonna need you to take him to the ER." I was like, "All right, cool." So I take him to the ER. I take it. Well, no, actually, pause. We're leaving CVS. I'm going ready to go take him because I'm going to drive 30 minutes to go down to the Children's Hospital in Fairfax. So I was like, okay, we had IHOP for breakfast, but I had like some real shitty crepes and some eggs, so I didn't have much.
I mean, dude, you didn't have to say that. You just said IHOP. That's
IHOP.
fine.
Exactly. So I'm like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to grab a quick bite to eat from McDonald's because I know every time we go to the ER with him, it's 4 hours. So I was like, all right, cool. So I get in the drive-through lane. I'm waiting, and all of a sudden you hear a fucking
Linda Blair.
a liter of water in the back of my wife's car. So I'm like, oh fuck. So I drive out of the drive-through. I call the wife. Yeah, so he just puked everywhere. I'm gonna need you to grab a change of clothes and a go bag because I think we might be there for a while. So
This is your second sex trophy. How are you not leaving the house prepared at this point?
listen, it's no fun that way. I like the adventure. So we get back to the house. I grab the stuff. And I'm like, I walk inside and I'm like, you know what? He's asleep in the back right now. I got a few minutes. I should grab a charger just to be on the safe side. So I grab a charger. I'm like, should I grab a video game console? Nah, we're not gonna be that long. So
you were the worst father in the entire fucking world. Putting your entertainment over the health and welfare of your poor child who's heaving his lungs out, possibly aspirating on his own fluids.
He was perfectly sound asleep. I double checked him. He was breathing in everything. So he was
passed out from
yes,
oh my God,
because he didn't sleep the night before. Just hear me out here. I know that there's a reason why I said this.
I've heard you and we don't agree.
Dude, I may have had an almond sideways in my asshole, but this is bad.
I knew for a fact I was going to be stuck there overnight. I had a feeling. So I did not.
I came back at the right time.
Yeah, you did. So all I grabbed was the
Nick
charger.
Nick abandoned his child, and Glenn has an almond in his ass.
Yep, exactly.
Keep going.
So I left the game console. I grabbed a charger, went to the ER. We're sitting there. Turns out he doesn't have pneumonia. He's totally fine, but he has bronchiolitis. So the problem with my son
bronchitis?
No, they said bronchiolitis.
It's the sexier
viral,
cousin
not,
of bronchitis.
Yeah.
Lovely.
So
sexy.
So they were like, okay, look, there's no pneumonia, so we're good there. But we're gonna have to put him on some oxygen for a couple hours and see how he does. So that's what they did.
Yeah.
Then they gave him albuterol. Then they were like, well, he's kind of okay, but his heart rate's a little too fast for us right now. And
they just put him on steroids. Of course his heart rate's going to be fast.
Yeah. So then we get admitted. And he was up most of the night, not like screaming, crying, but like that where the moment you like stop padding, they're just like the world is ending. It's kind of like that. So now I'm running off 4 hours of sleep over 2 days. So
at least you have entertainment, though.
Yeah, I had to stay up with the baby. So
what console did you end up getting? Just so we're on the same page of how shitty.
Yeah, really. Like where?
I was gonna grab my RG 353. It's just so I could play like Resident Evil or something when he goes to sleep. It wouldn't have mattered because he didn't sleep.
I thought you were purchasing one at the store as well.
No, that's different.
It's actually worse that you had to drive home to grab it and then bring it.
Yeah, no, I had to come back because he puked and he was changing clothes. So I was like, oh, well, I should grab something.
It's not like you don't have a wife to grab it for you. Damn.
Oh.
No, I said that. I called her and said, hey, can you grab the clothes?
I apologize. Okay,
fuck are you
know
talking
what? It was a
about?
bad situation.
Anyway.
It was bad. Go ahead.
Shut up, cunt. So.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, no. So he's fine now. He just had to stay there till 10 o'clock on Monday night. And then because they had weaned him off, they had him at 12. Was it 12 pounds or liters of air or whatever? Then they dropped down to 10. Then like at 8 in the morning, they dropped him down to like 5 and then 2.5 and then done. So he was weaned off pretty well. He just needed a fair bit of medical grade albuterol through his system for a day and a half, and he was good to go. So now he's upstairs sleeping like a baby.
Poor guy.
He seems fine. He was happy. He got to watch so much fucking Bluey that I am now a fan of the show.
What do you mean you're now a fan?
I've never watched it. I've only seen like bits and pieces of it. But now that he started watching it,
I don't watch things that my children watch because I couldn't.
Dude, the amount of word party and little or Pororo, the little penguin that I've seen, is astonishing. But that's all he watches is word party and that, and now Trash Truck. But it seems like it's now veering off into Bluey territory. So,
whatever happened to watching like Maury and Jerry?
We don't have cable because we're not
Jerry
boomers.
Springer. That's what you watched whenever you're sick during the day. It was like
you
shitty
watch trash TV.
talk shows. Yeah.
Or you watch sitcoms on TBS. But here's the thing. I'm more offended that you said you've now become a Bluey fan after you've had all of these years than when you abandoned your child to get a video game console.
I'm just gonna say this: the episode "The Sign" is peak
No, I'm
cinema.
telling you, it's a good show. And by the way, if
Pure
y'all haven't
fucking
seen it,
Kino,
I'm
bro.
going to drop a link in chat. It's the canonical
No door
ending
is
to
the
Bluey.
Explorer.
A Black Legion Templar gets dropped onto Bluey's planet looking for furries. It's the craziest fucking animation I've ever seen. I will stick it in chat so you can see it. It's funny.
Your kid watches different episodes of Bluey than we do.
But no. Okay, the reason why I'm saying it's canon is because it was the original video was taken down not due to copyright not due to copyright infringement, but it was copyright struck, which means the company is claiming that is their material. Ergo, the canonical ending to Bluey is them being killed by a space marine.
Because it's using
It's
their
a non-canonical
IP.
Space Marine, Charlie.
But anyway, so yeah, Bluey kicks ass. As far as
Accurate.
I watched a movie, surprisingly enough. But first, I've gotten way deeper into Trailer Park Boys. I am now trying to embody all that is Ricky. I just don't have any jalapeno chips on me right now.
What does your wife think about you being deep into Trailer Park Boys?
She seems cool.
She
with
gave
it.
up on him years ago.
Exactly. It's tax write-off at this point. Anyway, I watched The Crow. So, remember how I said there were some reviewers saying that The Crow made Borderlands look like a good movie? I'm going to call them hack fucking frauds because I actually liked The Crow movie. I thought it was pretty good. I wasn't expecting it to be campy, like grim, dark fun like the original Crow, but surprisingly enough, it kind of was. It was very, very enjoyable.
What was his motivation for taking on the mantle of the Crow?
So
They killed his dog.
Yes, they killed his dog. No, they
You're
killed.
shitting me.
No, they killed. They killed his girlfriend.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's
It's
canonical.
It's
what
the
happened?
same. Yeah, it's pretty much the same as the original movie. But there's more supernatural elements added to it, which I thought was actually a really clever take. Like who the villain is and why they are the villain is actually really clever, and I liked it. But no.
So does it follow more along the lines? Did they borrow material from like the comic book series?
I think they borrowed material from The Crow 2. So I've only ever read the first one, but I remember The Crow 2 had a lot more like supernatural type entities to it. So I want to say they probably borrowed more from The Crow 2. But it still has kind of the basic setup of the original Crow comic and movie. That said,
was
I
there
actually
a
recommend it.
Crow comic Sandman crossover, or is that a fever dream?
That sounds to me like a peyote based fever dream you're having there, Glenn.
Yeah, got to stop doing drugs, I guess.
As he actively does drugs.
Does drugs. But
The
Right.
have you watched Boy Kills World?
yes.
Was the action in The Crow better or worse than Boy Kills World?
I wouldn't say it's on par, only because there's a lot less action in this, but violence wise and like, oh yeah, that's pretty fucking cool, I'd say on par. They're not doing like the wire foo shit, but a lot of like the hard hitting stuff actually looked really fucking good.
Dope.
But yeah, no, I thought it was a really good movie. It's definitely not going to be one that like the critics are going to like, but if you're a fan of like grim dark and like, it's a very niche genre, but grim dark love stories is something that just gets me going. I think that's the whole reason why I love Berserk so much, because that's all it is. But yeah, no, I personally thought it was really good. It kind of felt like a late 90s, early 2000s action flick with drama added into it. I will say this though, the chick who plays Sherry, I really, really don't like her accent. Like, her acting's okay, but her accent, she's got like this, it's not like a normal British accent, it's just something a little different. I don't know how to describe it.
Is it like a Cockney accent, or
not quite,
a
but
Liverpoolian accent?
It's bordering it, and so it's like it kind of takes me away whenever she talks.
Is that her native accent, or is that
I think
American
it might
that's faking an accent?
I think it's
Whoa.
actually more like it's her native accent, but she's trying to mask it by doing an American accent, and it's not working.
Yeah, but if she has some form of a Cockney accent, that would make sense given the socioeconomic status of the couple in the film.
Fair. I will say this though, the whole because instead of it originally looked like it was like a co-ed prison, but it's actually like a rehabilitation center, like how they meet.
Okay.
I thought that was kind of contrived because the way she gets arrested doesn't make sense as to why they would throw her into this. And it's kind of hard to tell where this is supposed to be set because it kind of looks like it's Chicago, but it doesn't quite have the same feel. And I don't believe they ever said, like, there's some really weird things in there, but for the most part, I thought it was a pretty solid flick. Like, it was a hell of a lot better than Borderlands. Whereas Borderlands was soulless, this actually felt like the director kind of had an idea of what he was doing, and he was trying really hard to get it. Like, that's the one thing. You can see that they tried with this movie, whereas Borderlands
So,
is just
if in the
paint by numbers
case-
garbage.
If in the case that basically the other Crow movie did not exist, this would be
I would
close
say, yeah,
to what it was supposed to be.
I would say yes.
Did they have any like CGI Brandon Lee cameos?
Oh God, no.
Too bad. Missed
It was.
opportunity.
I will say this, it was really like I'm going to sound like such an art snob right now, but it's very avant-garde, and the way they shot some of the scenes looked really fucking cool. Like it was like a almost like a surrealist painting type stuff in some of the scenes. It was really neat. Like the cinematography, I thought was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Aside from that, I have been playing tabletop store simulator. So
Oh yeah.
I bought it. I think I've put 8 hours into it already.
Wait, are you talking about
Store?
The
the
TCG card shop.
the trading
simulator.
card games?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like TCG store simulator or something like that. It is
Yeah.
stupid
It's
fun.
TGC. Yeah.
It's just
Yeah. How many
it
how many
feels
cards have you opened? Have you just like stopped selling packs and just selling straight cards?
I mix it up. I run the shop like I would run the shop because you get like full control of how you do the layout, and you can like expand and buy a second store and stuff too. But
So inefficiently and in the red.
What?
So this shop is being ran inefficiently and in the red.
Oh, totally. Like I think the first day I only made the most money I've ever made in a single day was like $700, and like every
That's
other day I'm
impressive.
in the red. So
It's because he's trying to complete his collection of the
Tetramon?
pocket monsters. Tetramon.
But no, so like what's really cool is the way the in-game economy actually works. Like you're reading stock charts to like do your pricing pretty much for the cards and like all the other accessories, because you're not just selling cards, you're also selling like dice, plushies, card sleeves and stuff like that. Like my biggest sellers are rare single, like rare booster packs and card sleeves. Like there's a couple times where dude will walk in, get one like a single card, and just like half a rack of card sleeves. And I'm like, what the? Okay. It's a really.
I mean, he
fun...
probably opened up a lot of packs and didn't get it.
Exactly.
So he needs to sleeve them, right? Yeah.
But no, it's a really fun game to get like fucking piss hammered in play, because then you can just pretend like your life is terrible and you actually run a trading card game shop.
You know, it's funny you mentioned tabletop RPG, because actually I had some other news from this week that I was just remembering. Every Tuesday for the past 5 years now, I have had a core group of people that I play with online to do virtual tabletop. Shout out to Eve, Vontae, and Kat. Sup. It's their names are Mr. E and then Cat, because that's a name of one of his characters, in Vontae because Vontae is Vontae. Awesome people, all of them. But we were playing a game called Dragonbane, which is an interesting game, D20 based, but you have to basically roll under your score in order to achieve the effect. So the higher your score, the better. Yeah. And so basically, due to this old ghost bitch and a swarm of bats, we had a TPK.
Ooh, nice.
It was bad. It was really bad. Basically, we were trying to run out of a dungeon with like this crown and this hammer from this, corpse that was, and those items were the fetters of this ghost bitch, and yeah, we got ganked. Pretty bad. It's hardcore mode, tabletop RPG, high fantasy stuff. And they also have like a duck race, which is really fun,
Nice.
because one of their powers is they can quack out. Um, but anyways, so after the TPK, this next week, we are voting between two games, which I will be running. I was not running the Dragonbane game, but it's a server that I started with, people come together to play with me as a GM. So I decided I'd take the mantle up again. And the games are the Roll 2.0 Pokemon RPG system, which is an unlicensed fan-made game that actually has a breakdown of all the Pokemon that are currently existing, and stats. And then, oddly enough, there's also the same stat block for trainers as well. So they have like, basically like, things, the stats they use for the Pokemon, those same stats they also have for trainers as well, which is kind of fun. The only things that humans don't have is, Pokemon moves that they can learn. But the variant of that game that we're playing is the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon version, to where basically everybody's a Pokemon, and they have to go do the Pokemon Village and make the best of that they can. So they're voting between that and a Werewolf of the Apocalypse 20th Anniversary Edition, which is a World of Darkness game, and hilarity will ensue, because of that. So that's kind of cool how. With something big, and probably something that I'll update with as the weeks tear on, as it will still be fresh in my mind. So, anyways, sorry,
Okay.
don't mean to interrupt, but
Oh, no,
go
you're
ahead.
fine. Let's talk about some board games. Being as we're talking about tabletop, went to our local Second and Charles, and I found something that is very interesting to me, at least. I found Deep Space D6. Now, Deep Space D6 is it's a solitaire crew assignment game. Survive the depths of space. Literally, it's Star Trek. It's a solo Star Trek board game. There's like, I believe it comes with like 3 ships and 3 to 4 ships, and you get like all the stuff. So you're just managing the crew, trying not to, get ganked by aliens, do research, all that fun shit. What was also cool is...
Watch out for that black goo, bro.
Exactly. They also had the expansion, which is very interesting. And I would like to say this one thing. To Matthew, Merry Christmas 2020 and a Happy New Year 2021 from Joel. I don't know who Matthew or Joel are, but both of you guys rock, because I've been trying to get a copy of this game for years. So thank you.
Do you get to play out the Kobayashi Maru simulation?
I am going to try. Another thing I want to talk about, which is going to segue into the Kickstarter bit this week, The Dark Tomb. Oh, there we go. The Dark Tomb. So these are solo to 5 players, so 1 to 5 players, dungeon crawls in a tin. Really, really interesting concept. Really like the game. They have a Kickstarter for their 3rd one that went up. And as far as I know, the only way to get the game is to actually get these through the Kickstarters, because I think they're a very small team. But it is called Dark Tomb, The Ice Chasers. Kickstarter's running right now. I bought into it because the game fucking rocks. It is currently at $104,000 for pledges. They were only asking for $4,000. Still got 28 days going. If you pick up...
Do they have the ability to buy the previous versions of the game?
I was just about to say
in
that.
the Kickstarter?
So after
Excellent.
the Kickstarter finishes, you can actually spend, I want to say it's $20 each for adding them on. As I scroll. I can't find it right now, but they did say in here that you can add the first 2 games in as add-ons after once the pledge manager goes out. Highly recommend it. The game's $20, well worth it. Tons of replayability. The other Kickstarter I want to talk about was The Living Maze that we spoke about. I want to say it was 2 podcasts ago. They are currently sitting at $8,145. Their $12,000 pledge they're trying to get. So they're almost there. It's only got 6 more days though. So if anybody's interested in what looks to be a really cool solo or multiplayer dungeon crawler, I think it's like $35 for the game. Highly recommend it. They even have a demo on Tabletop Simulator, and it's really fun.
Kick ass. For that card game in the tens, is that self-contained or does it require dice?
So that's where it gets fun. It comes with, hold on, I believe it comes with a D20, as well as little wooden tokens for the player character and like any enemies you encounter. And then everything else are on these little tiny cards here that I want to say are about the same. They should be the same size as what is it? Carascus? That one. You know
Carcassonne?
Carcassonne, that's it. I want to say the cards are about that big. Yeah, no, it's a pocketable
that
dungeon
includes
crawler.
like player character, or so you can like basically create characters and everything with that.
All the heroes are pre-generated because they all have their own cards. However, the nice part, they're interchangeable. So if you have the second game, you can use those heroes in this one and vice versa. And it's also going to work for the third game as well.
Kick ass.
So
yeah. What new classes are they showcasing on the new game?
The new one was like a hunter, I don't recall. The Kickstarter just started, and I was like, I'll check this out later, and just threw money at them. But like, I know the first 10 is kind of like the basic. You got I want to say it's the cleric, the wizard, the barbarian, and the warrior and the thief, and then the next one has like different ones. So they all have different different starting classes, which are pretty cool. But no, it's a super fun little game. Like, well worth the $20.
Yeah.
Did you just say that the Kickstarter started, and rather than reading through it and determining if you wanted to be a part of it,
I just
threw
gave them money.
at
Yep.
the creator and just hope for the best?
Yep.
Wonderful research you did.
Oh, I didn't.
Well, I mean, he's already purchased 2 of the games.
I've literally gone through all the Kickstarters so far, and they've been fantastic. So there's some trust.
I mean, it's just like Polyhero and their different shaped dice. Like, I have all of them because I'm all about funky dice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but no, this one's just really nice because it has everything you need in that tin.
That's awesome. Yeah, like sticking to your pocket, going to game night with the bros.
Yep.
Definitely.
And I think the second one
easy.
added a new mechanic with so you can traverse on a boat, and it actually has like a little plastic boat that you can put your character wood pieces in. And then the third one, they added the mini game they added to that one is because you're scaling a mountain, so you have to randomly shuffle a deck, and you got to get through the mountain in a certain amount of time before it like an avalanche happens or something bad happens, which I think is really, really cool.
You turn into Yeti spaghetti.
Exactly. But that, I believe. Oh, last thing. You might notice, if I can figure it out where it is. There it is. Right there. There is a new cage down here. That is because Godzilla got evicted from his 3rd floor penthouse. He now has to.
You talked about this already.
Not on the podcast though.
Oh right, yeah.
So now he has to shack up with the rabbit in the basement. This was not because Leon does not love the lizard hunter. It is just because the wife doesn't like bugs being in the house, or well, upstairs mostly, because the little baby likes to climb Leon's table, open up the bug case, and just dump it on the floor. There's at least been 2 times where I've had to rip Leon's room apart to find dubia roaches, and only 1 time with the worms.
And I appreciate that your child does this because I get great joy out of it every time. It was the reason I bought the gift.
But that would be my week.
He can be an entomologist.
Exactly.
Just trying to help the next generation.
It reminds me of my son Isaac. He one time had like a handful of something, and my wife, he was like 4 or something like that. My wife walked up to him and it was like, "Oh, what do you got in your hand, Isaac?" And he opened his hands, and it was like maybe like 30 of the isopod little creepy
Yeah.
little roly polies, and they just kind of went shh, and crawled all over his hand, and she was like, "Just wait until your baby eats one."
Oh God. Yeah, I think he may have eaten a worm. I just can't confirm it. And that's a super worm, so that's a big crunchy fucker.
Oh my God, yeah, dude, that's fucking bait.
Yeah,
Were you getting ready to say something, Rico?
Sounded like it.
Were you getting ready to say something?
No, he's just sitting there pondering when he gets to play Space Marine next.
I think so.
Nah.
I can quit anytime I want.
I'm wondering when you guys are gonna get.
You got any Space Marine?
All right,
It's
so
crossplay.
hey, it's crossplay. I already picked it up, so I'm ready.
I got two things.
Okay, go.
One, I forgot to include in my week on Disney Plus. There's a wonderful, wonderful family film I highly recommend called Descendants: Rise of Red. Hear me out, just first of all, because I saw the quizzical looks. It's an absolutely atrocious film. Just so we're all on the same page. However, the music is bopping. Like it's so enjoyable. It's clearly meant for kids, but like they've got the beats of those songs down. I didn't even watch half the film. I was just walking around doing dad chores the whole time, and I'm just sitting there. I was jamming out to it. It was great. I was loving it. And then the movie ended, and my wife looked at me. She says, I love our kids, but I really want to watch that movie by myself now or with you, so like I can enjoy it and get to enjoy the music as well. I'm like, yeah, I'm down. Let's do it. So like it was a lot better than I thought, and it's all like the descendants of the princes and princesses and their villains from all of the Disney movies and everything else, and they go back in time, so you get to see what they were like before they became villains or before he became Prince Charming and all that fun jazz. So that was one thing. Forgot to mention that earlier. Kind of goes on the same thing as Bluey. You're never gonna watch it unless you have kids, but once you do, you're like, this is kind of good. I enjoy it.
I get it now.
Exactly.
Yo, Bandit's the best OG.
Bandit,
dude, Bandit.
Bandit kicks
Fuck
ass.
yeah.
You will never.
He's like the coolest dad.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
I wish I was like him.
Yeah, you will never be as good of a dad as Bandit, no matter what you do.
Impossible.
He is the gold standard. But
I just like the relationship dynamic between him and Chili, like with the way that they're like obviously they don't hide away that mom and dad love each other, and she gets pissed off at him like all of our wives do at one point or another, I'm sure. And
some more than
like
others.
they're just just real. Like I mean they're dogs, but they're real in the sincerest term. It's a great show. For all you people thinking about having kids, you should probably watch it because it's actually a really good touchstone for just like, how to be a parent in a lot of ways and how to approach things. Because,
and if you're really thinking about kids, I'm going to say this: as much as I love my children, and I wouldn't change anything for the world, for the love of God, don't have kids.
No, make more sex babies. Make more sex trophies.
It's like sex babies. Ew.
Yeah, sex trophies. We got there in the end. The other thing I want to talk about is actually about the news. I assumed Rico was going to get here next, and he was going to throw us into the dumps with all the dead people. So I wanted to get there ahead of time.
Throw us in the dumps with all the dead people. Holy shit.
Everybody
See,
died.
That's the name of the podcast.
So, I went through and I watched all of Apple's new product line that they unveiled. And for the most part, I have many, 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 many gripes with it. But I did find something really neat. So the AirPod 4s that are coming out, I don't know if you guys have watched it any, but they're the wireless headphones that Apple makes. They've done a study on thousands of people for testing them out to determine hearing loss levels, which for one is really cool because now you don't have to go to a doctor to go find that out. Many people don't have insurance in America to be able to afford that, which is really cool. But also, it has not been FDA approved yet. However, they're expecting it within the next couple months for the headphones to be approved as medical devices as a hearing aid, which I think is fucking amazing. Because if you can buy a $250 set of hearing aids that can also be used as headphones or anything else, that's fantastic. And also, it means that come next year, when my HSA refills, I get to get a brand new set of headphones utilizing my HSA, and I don't have to pay for it out of my own pocket. And that's cool too.
That is
But
until they turn up dead because somebody in big hearing aid assassinated them. Oh, I mean, they accidentally died of natural causes.
No, that's
They didn't work
that's
for
other
Boeing.
foreign governments, including bombs and devices. That wasn't Apple, but
That wasn't.
Have you seen the movie Thelma? It's
it
action
came out
comedy
when I was
film.
in Blockbuster. I don't remember.
No. It was this year. It was a
Oh,
2024
no.
release. It's an action comedy film about a 93-year-old woman who gets scanned by a phone scammer and sets out to get her money back. But what's funny is that during the movie, she actually uses her hearing aid via the Bluetooth function in order to communicate with somebody remotely, which I thought was really funny. Like, I think she's trying to shimmy her way through a lighting store that sells like lamps and shit like that. And there's some old man that's outside, and he's like the man in the chair talking with her because she's half blind.
Using a lighter, going, "Come to LA, have a couple drinks, have a few lifts."
No, nothing like that. But no, it's funny because you mentioned, Bluetooth and hearing aids, and I just immediately thought of Thelma. It was one of those movies that, like, it came out and like to very little fanfare, but it was funny as hell. And as like a B movie, I think it was by A24. Let me see who made that. Thelma. It was released by.
Yeah. Also, I was thinking of the Charlize Theron Thelma and Louise film. I was working on Blockbuster when that one came out.
No,
Was
this is
Sharon
the
Stone in
June
that?
Squibb in Richard
No.
Roundtree Thelma.
You're thinking of Basic Instinct, Nick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Same film, right?
Yeah.
Hold on, Charles Lee
obviously.
was in Thelma and
Here,
Louise.
I'll send
her.
the link into the description here. Boom. There we are. That's the movie itself. It's great. But yeah, no, they do something very similar with respect to that film, with the hearing aid and Bluetooth connected to a phone, which I thought was nutty. Anyways,
And this is another thing I thought was really cool out of it, was that the Apple Watch via software update, which we're going to get to this in a second, it can now, it will be able to detect if you have sleep apnea issues, if you wear it while you sleep. So then you can contact a doctor to get that resolved, which I think that's really cool. So Apple is very clearly focusing on the health portion of their devices because there's no fucking innovation happening with them. So they clearly have to figure out how to make money somehow, which then gets into my next biggest gripe of the iPhone 16. I already bought a Pro Max because I'm on a 4-year-old phone and my camera lens broke the other day, and now I have a giant chunk of glass in there from when I replaced it. And it's time to upgrade anyway, so whatever. But what I absolutely fucking love about this is that they're talking about all this Apple intelligence and everything else and how cool it is, and it is kind of neat, and I do appreciate the increased processing power and everything else. And everything that they're trying to tout, which is cool and all, and I do appreciate that. How fucking ever none of that functionality comes with the device on launch. It doesn't come with the iPhone, it doesn't come with the Pro, it doesn't come with the Pro Max. It's all coming down the road with iOS 18. But here's the real fucking kicker. People with iPhone 14s and iPhone 15s, they will also get this identical functionality because it's a software update. It's nothing device hardware driven. It will be faster on the new device. The 16 is supposed to be 30% faster than the 15 and about 60% faster on my current phone, which I can't say I'm ever going to fucking notice. But what I really hate is that we are now at the stage where these devices are being released annually. They have absolutely no innovation happening to them. So they're giving you, instead of a 6.5 inch screen, you now get a 6.7 inch screen. A little bit better hardware that you're never going to functionally notice, and all of the actual improvements that you're going to get to the device over the life of the phone is through software updates that older devices are going to get as well. So there's no form of innovation happening to their flagship product and has not happened for years.
So what you're saying is that you're now going to be an Android user
Yeah,
in
that's
order
what I'd
to
say.
get
Like you
all
pretty
the
much
actual, updates in technology.
No, I'm stuck in the Apple ecosystem because
Yeah.
of family and everything else. So it is what it is. It's
I'm
I'm
the
here. It doesn't
oddball out
matter.
because I use Android.
Yeah, but
It's you're
how
buying designed obsolescence, bro.
I
You're getting
understand.
taken for a fucking fool.
He knows
Hit
he's
him,
getting
I
Glenn.
jerked off
understand.
every
him.
2 years.
Hit him in the jaw with it.
No, I upgrade every 4 years because
Oh,
there's
there you
clearly no fucking reason to upgrade sooner than that. But it's how can you be that daft that your devices are not any better than they were the year before? You're trying to charge more for them,
Mhm.
and clearly the market demand isn't even there for it because even though they launched last Friday, 2 days after the launch, Apple announced that employees could already buy the 16s on discount because the pre-orders and the initial orders on the devices were that low. There's no market demand for them.
What's the price on it? I'm curious. How
I
many
think they get
dollar
like
dues?
I think they get like a 20%
No,
discount
no,
or
no.
something
I mean,
like
what's
that.
the MSRP?
Oh, it's not good.
Yeah, I bet.
Uh,
Have they finally hit 2,000 or is it higher?
No, we're nowhere close to that. They kind of figured out where everything has to live. So it starts at $899 for the iPhone 16, the base model,
Okay.
which is 60 hertz for the panel. Also bullshit.
Mhm.
And I think the Pro Max is just under $1,200.
Wait, their fucking baseline doesn't even have a 120 hertz refresh rate? What the
No,
fuck?
you have to get the Pro model for that. It's been like that for years.
Dude, that's absolute ass.
Yeah. But somehow they are still the market leader, and I guess they're doing a really great job focusing on the whole health aspect. Because now that the data is there, it's available, it can enrich our lives. So let's go ahead and gather it all to give it to you, to present it to you, and all these fancy graphs and numbers, which is great. If you're a data person, it's fantastic. But for everybody else, it's just eye candy that you're going to forget about a week after you bought the device, and then you're going to stare at your cell phone bill and you're like, man, why am I spending $300 for this phone? And no one's going to have an answer for it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Only
understand how
for
this
it to be
model
replaced
sustained.
in 6 to 8 months.
Correct. I don't know how they can get another generation, maybe two, without having some massively industry disrupting
Which is crazy
technology.
because like Samsung still comes out with new shit every year. Like the cameras on the Samsung from 23 to 24 it was a huge leap. Same with the processor they were using. Like it was a noticeable difference for me at least. So
Yeah.
it's just weird that Apple won't put forth any of the effort, but all the other companies are.
No, they're going to have to within the next year or two.
Exactly.
I cannot see them staying the market leader otherwise, but I don't know what they're going to do to try to innovate.
Speaking of processors, have y'all heard the news about the 4090s basically being discontinued
What?
in lieu of the 5090 RTX?
Yeah, it's the 4090 and the 4090D, I think it
G?
is.
It's
They
D or
they
G?
yeah, they stop production on. They do that every Nvidia does this every year. After
Oh yeah.
within 3 to 4 months of the new model coming out, you discontinue them to get the what's currently on the shelves and in the warehouses out of stock. So it forces consumers to purchase the next one up. But again, I don't think people are going to buy it because we're currently in the heights of the Nvidia cycle where they drop prices really low, like they do with the 30 series, and then they slowly ramp them up to be unfucking reasonable
Mm-hmm.
and twice the cost of what they were 2 or 3 generations before. And then they're like, oh, we see that the market demand isn't there. We're going to drop them back down, and then we're gonna
Yep.
repeat the cycle up the stairs. They do it every time.
And that's why my 2080 Super is still kicking ass.
That's a 2070 Super, bro.
Was it 2070?
Yeah.
Fair. Close
Yeah.
enough. Either
And
way, it
meanwhile,
still
my
kicks
40
ass.
4080 RTX is doing spectacular.
Yeah, but see, I only play in 1080p, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, I'm a 4K guy because I
See.
enjoy seeing very little screen tear.
Speaking
That's
of
what these
enjoying
things
very
for.
beautiful images, Rico shared an image of Warhammer in the general chat, and that is a gorgeous
It looks
game.
fucking beautiful. Like I want to go
Yeah.
stomp bugs on those planets.
I'm just gonna say, speaking of beautiful images, y'all never actually showed me a picture of your mom.
You don't want to see a
Well,
picture of
it's
that
not a
troll.
beautiful image.
Yeah. So imagine that you played Dungeons and Dragons. Remember the original Dungeons and Dragons Monster Manual? So when you look up Hag, that's actually a picture of our mother. Hi, Mom.
Wood.
Oh, it's fine. She ain't gonna fucking listen to this.
Oh, one thing I
No,
wanna
she
add
will. And
is,
then she's gonna call me in about 3 weeks. Like, what the fuck?
if you guys are not tired,
Just how drunk was your father?
Penguin. The premiere for Penguin came out today.
Drunk
for
enough.
the TV
Oh, it
series.
did.
Ooh,
Nice.
did it?
Yes.
I'm gonna have to watch that.
I saw one review saying that it just was ecstatic.
Okay.
So it has my interest on that one.
Your mom's cute. I wouldn't kick her out of bed
Why'd you
for
actually
eating
send a
cookies.
picture of her?
Hold on. Now
Oh,
I gotta look.
God.
Now.
I dropped it in the. I can also give me a second. I can give you as a Granny Foot Finder link too. Hold on.
Oh God,
Hold on.
dude! Since we're derailing this shit this hard,
Oh,
I
that's
made a joke and told my mom and
Velma.
told mom about that I own Granny Foot Finder, and she's like, "Oh, let me know. I'll send you some pics and we can get this going." I was like, what
Yeah,
the
she did.
Oh
fuck,
my
yo?
god.
Yeah, she then proceeded to call me right afterwards
Oh my
and then
fucking
tell
God.
me
How old is
that
your
she
mom?
can't. 50 or early 50s.
55? No, wait. How
Yeah.
old am I? Because she's 20 years older than me.
You're 35.
So 55. She turns
There you go.
56 this year.
I mean,
Dang,
dude,
y'all
that's
make her
only
seem-
15 years older than
I
I am.
swear
I mean,
you-
that's not.
y'all made
That's
it
well
seem
within
like she
the
looked
algorithm.
crazy, like she's not right in the mind or something.
Oh no, she's an absolute
Hold
fucking
on.
psychopath.
Hold, here,
Well, that picture doesn't scream that. That picture screams wholesome mom, loves
Yeah,
her
but see,
kids.
here's what you need to do. You need to look at
brownies
the
and all that
eyes.
stuff.
If you look past the
Used
veneer,
to
you'll
belong
see
to
the
the
crazy
PTA.
eyes.
Yeah, soccer mom, like hey there, hey guys.
Mom
right,
was
I just-
nowhere near a soccer mom.
You know what's
Yeah,
kind of weird, actually?
10. There
Like
you go,
if you
Glenn.
zoom
I let
into
her
the
know for ya.
face, it kind of looks like Nico without his pedo stash.
I have heard this before.
Yeah. Glenn, just so you know, I just sent the text letting our mom know that you wouldn't kick her out of bed for eating cookies. So it'll make her night. You're welcome.
Yeah. Hey,
Ooh, Glenn.
Oh shit.
Hey, you gotta let her know she has options.
no options. I'm happily married to a aerial gymnast
Cookie Monster, apparently.
PhD
Cookie Monster apparently.
who's a spectacular cook and a wildebeest in the bed.
Yeah, I hope your wife doesn't listen.
With
to
or
this.
without the
Costume?
with or without the
He
Chips
sounds like
Ahoy.
he's saying that in
With
duress.
or without the Chips Ahoy. See, I went with the wildebeest aspect. You're still living on the cookie days.
I
digging
am.
the
I
cookie
want to be able
days.
to eat cookies in bed. Okay, this isn't
Let me tell you,
fucking fair.
the cookie is fucking fantastic.
No, we're not. Oh my god.
It's all about the cookie.
I'm
The
talking
cookie.
about.
We're talking
the
about
ones with
Chips
calories
Ahoy.
in them. Yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ.
So are you, Glenn, tell us about dead people, or not Glenn?
Tell
Rico.
us about dead people.
Oh my god.
I don't think anybody died this week. That we would.
No, nobody went to the next level this week
Yeah,
that we can remember.
it's a good day. It's a good day.
It's a good
It's
day.
good. It's a good day. It's a good week. Can't guarantee next week. We'll see.
Well, hold on. Unless you want to count the Hezbollah guys who got fucking Looney Tuned.
Oh
From
my
I cannot
the-
believe we
fucking
didn't
god!
talk about that.
That's right.
I heard about the timeline of how this happened. So the pagers that exploded in Lebanon, they were ordered manufactured in Taiwan. When they got to Turkey, the shipment was intercepted, and all of this communication was done via paper notes.
Oh my
That's
god!
why there was no way to track what had happened, and until after the fact when it came out, they intercepted the shipment, took everything out of the packaging, inserted the bombs, put them all back in the packaging, sealed everything back up, put it back in the shipping containers with the invoices and everything all intact how it was, and then continued on the freight as if there was just a delay in the shipment for a day or so.
Did they not
And
bug
no one
them?
And it wasn't just pagers. It was like walkie-talkies. It was like phones.
radio.
It was like, I swear to God, like, you know, I can imagine these poor fuckers like sitting there, you know, after the beepers are exploding, and then like they go to the walkie-talkie and be like, oh my God, the beepers are fucked up. Boom. And then they like go to their phone to pick it up. And then boom. It's just like fucking meet motherfucker. Like, what the fuck?
It's absolutely insane. Like, that is seriously like a I would like to say it's a B tier movie plot, but it was the plot of the
It really
Kingsman.
is.
Yeah, it was the plot of the
it.
Kingsman.
I can't believe it actually happened in real life. That was so insane that could actually be a real thing.
Well, I
Some
think
guy
what's
in
more
Mossad's
insane is
like,
they didn't.
that's
they
a
didn't
fucking
check
great
on it.
idea.
Well, see, the thing that I don't get is why wouldn't you check your equipment?
Why
'Cause
would
you
you
don't-
crack
I mean,
it
most of
open
the
for
time
a
you don't.
bomb?
I wouldn't
Yeah.
listen. If you're in a situation like them, would you like the whole thing is don't trust anybody?
Sure, but if you're getting it directly from a manufacturer who is an
Yeah, I
ally or at
guess,
the very least a
And
neutral
from your
party.
cell leader.
Yeah,
Like,
they had all of their detection systems gave no indication that anything nefarious could be happening with those devices because, like I said, all of the communication was done via paper notes passed back and forth.
fair.
There was
You got to think this
no
is only like 1 to 3 ounces of explodable material.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like, dude, that's a little more than a postage stamp.
Fair.
And most of these guys are uneducated in you know, advanced consumer electronics, and not to mention, you know, if you are given this by, you know, your you know, terrorist leader, you don't want to crack it open and then be like, hey, we
Yep,
texted you,
that's fair.
why didn't you answer, you know, now we're gonna kill you. You know, it's one of those things that, like, it makes perfect sense why they didn't check them, but fucking hilarious that they all got like that. Yeah, because, you know, fuck the fucking fuckers.
Well, that's one take on. I mean, regardless, I just think it's an absolutely insane plot.
Yeah.
to
It's
come up with
bonkers.
it and
It's so
actually-
bonkers.
and effectively
Yeah.
execute it. I cannot believe
Yeah.
that was a real thing that happened.
You know what? It sounds like something you'd see in 24.
It
NCIS.
very much does. Yes.
That would have
Well,
happened
if it
at
isn't-
like 5
if it was-
p.m.
If it was an NCIS, there would
Yes.
have been 2 people on the keyboard in front of me actively trying to hack the network to prevent the devices from going off.
Yep.
Then he call in Ziva. Like, Ziva, you need to do this. Ah, Ziva.
I'm just wondering what the message said before it exploded. If it was like, you know, shalom or some bullshit like that.
They're like, and boobs.
It said boobs. Yeah, it was 8008.
Oh God.
And you can see him like,
Or-
boobs. What the hell? Oh, man. It was a booby trap. I don't know.
Oh, dad joke. Love it.
Hold on. There we go.
Why would you pat yourself on the back? You did nothing.
I set that up.
Yeah, Rico had that dad joke in the
Yeah, but
fucking
I was
bag.
I
Good
was
job, bro.
Listen,
You get
I-
no credit for this.
I gave LeBron the ball and
Thank
then
you.
he dunked
Thank
it.
you.
You get 0 credit for this.
Fuck off.
I reject your reality and substitute my own.
I have so many more buttons that I did not expect any of them to work.
Fair.
Oh, this is not okay. These are not appropriate.
I
for a
can't use
podcast.
half of the emojis that I have ready, and you guys know this.
Oh,
You guys, what is this part of the subscription to Discord?
I think so.
I think it
I
also
don't know,
goes
honestly.
based off the channels you're into. So if there's custom
Oh,
emojis
okay.
on the channels, you'll have access to
Where do you get that at now?
them. I don't know. You guys want to call that? You think that's a podcast? We're at 1.
I think we're fucking
Yeah.
great right now.
I think this is a podcast.
I think that's a podcast.
Yeah.
I went to try
Terrorists would
something
be
different.
like,
How about we all, since Rico always gives us drink water, how about we all just randomly at the end of the show, we throw a little last thing. A little parting words to the audience, if you will. Let me give it a go. I'm going to pass it off to Dick Tickler, Captain Dick Tickler, of course, of the sacred NASCAR arena. What is your wisdom this week?
I would have assumed that you wanted to save me for last, given the
Nope.
beautiful nuggets of wisdom I've given you previously. But if anyone out there is looking to get in better shape, the best way to do it is to get a can of soup, put it inside of a pot, heat it up to the point where it is boiling on the stove, and then pour it in a bowl, set it on the floor, and then start doing push-ups with your face over top of that bowl. So that way, if you fail, you're going to get minimum first-degree burns all across your face. And so it motivates you to stay up and continue doing the push-ups.
So forget muscle failure.
Correct. Mind over matter. You've got this.
All right, who you passing it off to?
I'm gonna give it to my main man Rico.
Drink water. That's all I got.
All right, it's your catchphrase. Why is this taking you so
Yeah.
long?
Dramatic pause for effect. Oh, last thing though, I did get a new water canteen too. Look at this.
Nice.
That's
Oh, look
ouch.
at you drinking water.
It's tactical. You guys are comfy.
LTT finally sent me a new lid to my water bottle.
Nice.
I broke it walking into the gym like 6 months ago, and I finally sent them a ticket and asked them if I could have another one. I'd even pay for shipping. They're like, no, that's cool, totally fine. And they just immediately sent it out, and they even overnighted it. So, LTT store is dope. Love it.
Yep. Drink water. Passing it off to Glenn.
Remember, whenever one is writing, that it is quite simple. You just need to sit down at your keyboard, open a vein, and bleed. Whoosh. Nico.
Okay. There's a lot to unpack there. I guess I will leave everyone with anal is a lot like Christmas. It's better to give than to receive.
Factually incorrect. You're just doing it wrong. Shower with the plug in. It'll be better next time.
Have a good night, everyone.
My God.